Good morning, everybody. College football Saturday. A little bit late today, but we're definitely here to give you the best bets on the board. I'm Mark Drumheller. I'm here with Dave Gleckner. And Dave, we got a tremendous lineup lined up today. So many moving parts. Malik Cunningham out. Dylan Gabriel warming up for the Sooners. He might play in the Red River Shootout. And then BYU gets all their receiving core back, it looks like, for the first time in a couple weeks. So, lots of injury updates, lots of moving parts today. And we're here to give you, the best plays that we're on today in the college football scene. Of course, powered by the Sharp app, guys. If you have not downloaded the Sharp app yet, make sure you do that. Lots of great stuff, tools, educational videos on there, as well as our AI prediction model, which is cleaning up this year. So, get on board, join the Discord, and download the app. That links are below. But Dave, let's get right into it. Lots of crazy stuff happening this week in college football. Lots of fun, a lot of madness last night. Houston pulls out a crazy upset. But I'm excited for these games. I mean, there are a lot of games on the board that got my eye. Starting with, the first game, College Game Day finally getting to Kansas. Kansas been the story of the season, and the Big 12 cashed everybody's win total tickets. But they have a big test today in TCU. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't wait. And it's funny, on a day like today when there's so many really good games, like look at the schedule before the season. The Jimbo Saban Bowl, and then you got the Red River rivalry, and game day goes to Kansas. Like you can't. This is why this sport's awesome. You couldn't script this. You couldn't predict this. Lance Leopold just getting his boys to play the right way and earn this visit. And what a game today. TCU is, they're looking like a potential Big 12 champ. And it's a tough test for Kansas today. But I think, last week they were a little, I want to say slow, right? They've been playing at a fast pace. That game ended up going 14-11 versus Iowa State. It almost feels like that could be a sign of good things, that they're winning games in a fast-paced situation, and now they've brought it back and won one in a low-scoring game. So I think they're doing it in multiple ways, and it could fare well for them the rest of the season.
Yeah, lots of great games. I mean, UCLA, Utah is going to be a lot of fun. But let's start with this game on game day. I want to start with this one because I do have a play on this one. And right now, this line's moving. I think it's up to 8 now. It might be up to 8. I saw some 8s popping in some spots, TCU. The money is coming in on that side, Dave. And I think it's warranted here. When I look at this TCU team and what they've done on offense with Max Duggan, I laid the 6.5. Obviously, you can't get that number there, but I would still be comfortable laying the points here. I think that they're going to really put it on a Kansas team that has done a lot of great things against, some teams, but this is a big step up in competition for them. Like, I feel like you started to see some of the cracks in the Kansas offense last week against Iowa State. Only a 38% success rate offensively. Daniels obviously does some great things with his feet. Only 93 yards passing. And I just wonder about how each team's going to approach this game, right? Because this is a huge game for both programs in a pretty big spot in a wide open Big 12. And I think that if TCU is able to get on top of this Kansas team, I think we could see things snowball.
I agree. I mean, if you look at the lines, and if you look at, several, success rate stats, they're all TCU, and they're all heavy TCU. That's the, that's the part we really got to assess. I mean, where Kansas struggled last week in that 14-11 game, they weren't successful on the ground. They have been all year, but they finally found some resistance there. And they were only lucky that, Iowa State's pretty decent kicker goes 1 of 4, right? So, I think great story, nice story, but this is a huge step up in competition. And I'm not saying they're not ready for it. I'm just saying it's something that they haven't played all season.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a team with a 2.5 game win total, right? I think people have to keep their early success in perspective. This TCU team has a ton of talent on both sides of the ball. We saw them hang 41 on Oklahoma in the first half last week. Oklahoma actually, not what we thought they would be defensively, but, I still think they're, a pretty good program, right? And, for TCU to do what they did to the Sooners last week, I think deserves a lot of credit. So, Our guy Daryl checking in. He wants to know, we're going to talk about the Red River rivalry for sure, man. It's a good one. Uber's coming back. I think that changes a lot of things for Texas. We'll talk about that game in a bit. Octane over. You know what? It should be. But here's the thing you got to be careful with, Daryl, and this is why I took the side and not the total in this matchup, is that we don't know how these teams are in a different role. Like College game day, this is a huge spot for both of them, especially Kansas at home. Do we see them come out a little tight, Dave? That's a question I have for you. Like, do we see the pressure? Do we see both teams come out a little bit tight, maybe a little bit conservative? Things slow down early. I mean, and when you look at these teams, you think should be over, should be a ton of scoring, come out, lighten the place up. But this is a lot for Kansas in this spot. Do they come out conservative, do you think, and maybe causing this total to kind of go down a little bit?
Yeah, I do think they do. And it might be what you call tight. I can agree with you, but it might also be called coaching. Last week, Leopold had a pregame speech that said, hey, I'm playing field position against this 3-3-5 Iowa State defense. I'm comfortable punting the ball and putting everything on my defense to win this game. And I think he's got to kind of do the similar. I don't think he can win a shootout. And I think he knows that. And for that sense, you're going to have to get Kansas to score points to hit the over. And I'm just not sure they're going to be that interested in that type of game. Now, it might change by halftime, depending on what the score is. But in their world, they'd rather play this one a lot tighter and a lot closer.
Yeah, I think so. So I think you might see them slow it down a little bit. Listen, guys, everybody tuning in, if you got best bets, you got questions, games you want us to hit, drop it in the comments. We'll definitely give you our opinion. And also hit the like button, right? We got many more people viewing than we do have likes. So let's make sure we hit the like button, take care of the people at the Sharp app, get this thing popping in the algorithm, right? And, let's make some money more ways than one today. But I'm going to try and make some money here with TCU. I like them. I laid the 6.5. I think they could run away with this one. Like Kansas, a very, very nice story so far. But you can only adjust them so much. And I just think that this is Max Duggan in this offense is running on all cylinders. I think they have a ton of talent. And listen, before the season, I knew a lot of people that were like, hey, TCU, is live to win this Big 12. They have a ton of talent. And the Big 12 is wide open now. Like it is a fun conference. And it's going to be, a lot of fun to watch it play out. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the futures market. It's going to be pretty fluid with the Big 12. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But Dave, let's keep the winners coming in. Why don't you hit us with a game that you like?
Yeah, the one I'll start with a game in the Big Ten a little later tonight. You got Illinois and Iowa. I think, what we saw last week, Drums, I know you were on Illinois. Very good pick. They're a team that, they've been kind of feisty this year to start the year. And picking them in the right spots has paid off for bettors. And I think this is another right spot for them. I like them to cover the number against Iowa. Iowa is just bad. They're by reputation only right now, name only. Spencer Petras, just terrible. This team barely puts up 11 points a game. And then on the other side, Illinois is actually decent defensively, and I think they can keep Iowa, at arm's distance. This is the first time Illinois has been favored against Iowa since 2008. We're going back 14 seasons, and it's only the second game that Illinois has been favored in Big Ten football in their last 20. So it is, a new place for them to act. But I feel like today's a great day for that. So I'm taking Illinois minus the 4 tonight over the Hawkeyes.
I couldn't agree with you more. Released this earlier in the week. Add a better number for members of the Sharp app. So we are on the same page here. Sharp app members, hey, listen, they got the better number. That's why you got to be a part of the family and, subscribe to the Sharp app. Download the app, get in the Discord, do all that stuff. But listen, about this game, Dave, I talked about this on VSiN Wednesday night. I agree 100%. It seems like a game where, hey, you know what? This is going to be a rock fight, totals in like the mid-30s. Like, how can we lay points in this situation? But I'm not sure Iowa scores. Like, the Illinois defense has been really, really impressive, like, all season. And, I think they're number 2 in the Big Ten. They're strong. And I don't know if Iowa scores in this matchup at all. Like, 10-3 covers this spread. Like, you can say whatever you want. And Illinois has enough playmakers. Chase Brown, I think he's number 2 in the nation in rushing. Like, he's incredible. Really, I mean, I don't think he's live, but, it could be a dark horse Heisman candidate towards the end of the year if they keep winning games. But he's really one of the best running backs in the country, and Isaiah Williams can make some plays too. Like, they have some guys. Listen, my guess here is we're probably looking at like a 20-10 game, right? Where Iowa gets a pick six from DeVito because he's a little loose with the ball. Like, that's the cause of concern here. But I really like Iowa to cover this number. I think this is a smash spot. The low total makes the number low, but I think Illinois is a much better team. I think I said Iowa to cover this number, but we're definitely on the same page here with Illinois.
Doesn't this feel like last week's game all over again versus Wisconsin? I mean, Wisconsin and Iowa, very similar teams, 34-10. That's what, look at the low total, be scared. I'm not. I think they've let up, what is it, like 23 points in their last 3 games, and 2 of those are just garbage touchdowns. So they shut down Virginia 24-3. That was the game we were on the other side. This is how we've adapted. I'm buying into this Illinois team.
Yeah, I like Illinois, so I'm with you 100%, man. And we agree, the money, it's going to be a deposit. So let's fire that one up. You can get the best numbers on the Sharp app. It'll give you all the different odds on all your favorite books, so make sure you download that. And let's take care of our guy, Daryl. The Red River rivalry, I think I misspoke. I called it the shootout, kind of dating myself with that one. But, Texas taking on Oklahoma. And the return of Ewers, man. And listen, I think this makes a world of difference to answer your question, Daryl. I think if you saw the game when Alabama played Texas and just how the offensive play calling changed when Hudson Card came in the game from Sark, I think that's very prominent. And that tells you just how much confidence Sark has to really open things up with Ewers there. And I think we're going to see that today. I think that, Sark smells blood in the water with this Sooners defense, and I think he's going to go right after him, man. And they've been gearing up for this game, and I think they score a ton of points here. And I think you can see the desperation on the Oklahoma side, right? Dylan Gabriel's warming up. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to make this thing happen, because they know they got no shot. They're losing by 40 points if he doesn't play. So I think Texas handles them. Like, I think this number is big for a reason. I know I sound very chalky in the beginning. Oh, let's lay the big number with TCU. Let's lay it with Texas. Let's lay it with Illinois, But I really think that they're the right side here. I didn't bet the game, but because crazy stuff happens in this rivalry, and it's just, we got 31 teams. There's plenty of other ways to make money, you know what I mean? But I think we're going to see a lot of points. Texas team total over is something I would look at as well, probably more than laying the points.
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit last night on Win Daily. This spot for someone like Bijan Robinson, I think is just huge. Oklahoma's 97th in rough defense success rate. I think we could see a 200-yard game from Bijan. I think Sark knows that, and I think he's going to really feature that. You're bringing Ewers off, a 3-4 week injury there. So I think they might ease him in and really try and dominate the line of scrimmage, which they can. Oklahoma's been horrific defensively, so bad. I mean, we saw it last week. What did TCU have? 49 before we even got to halftime?
41 in the first half.
41, yeah. So it was and there was no resistance. Max Dugan's running 75 yards with nobody around him. He broke one line and it's gone. That's what this is paper thin. And I think we could see similar with Bijan. So I'm not sure I have a play on the game. I want to see where the number settles if Gabriel's there. I know it was around 8 this morning.
It's going to come down. Yeah, it might come down. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to see where it settles. If he plays, I definitely feel even better taking Texas, because I just think, not for nothing, and don't take this the wrong way, but Tua, once you come off a concussion and it's 1 week, you're a softer hit away from banging that head again. And unfortunately, I would just not feel comfortable taking Gabriel today. So I'd like to see the number come down.
Yeah, I would too, man. I think Texas is a buy in this spot. I love the team total over. I think they're going to be super aggressive. They're going to smoke this Sooners defense. This isn't something that they can figure out at this point of the season as far as Oklahoma is concerned. This is who they are. This is who they're going to be with Brett Venables. And, buckle up, because the Big 12 is wide open. Again, going to be a lot of fun, but can't wait for this matchup because, listen, dude, Ewers might not be the most likable guy, but he has a hose, man, and he's going to let it rip in this game, and they're going to score a ton of points. I think this is a spot. This is a spot where Texas has had circled, and, they're going to roll, pretty big on this Oklahoma defense for sure. So, like everything Texas in this one, like the team total the most, but would probably play Texas on that side. Daryl hitting us up again, Dave, and I think you're ready to talk about this one. The Tide gets payback today for losing to A&M last year, and I think so. So let's transition over to that game, right? So we have Alabama. Not sure where it's at right now. It's a 24.5 all week. We might have seen it come down a little bit to 24 or whatnot. Just pretty much a huge number in this game. And the story is, hey, mouth never pays, right? These guys bickering back and forth all off season, right? And that Saban's had this game circled. And Saban, scoring Saban is not what you want to see. I mean, Saban historically against the spread with revenge has been absolutely incredible. One of the best bets in college football. And now he gets a wounded A&M team that has to go back to Haynes King, right? Max Johnson was supposed to help out the offense. He couldn't. Now he's injured. Now they bring back Haynes King, a little more athletic, a little better physical tools, but a little more turnovers, right? A little more bad decisions. That's kind of what you get with Haynes King there. So I think it's trouble for A&M, man. I laid the 24.5, and I played the under in this matchup. I think it was, I want to say 59 or where's the total in this matchup? Is it? I laid the under. I played the under, and I played Alabama in this game. I think that Texas A&M might not score, with Haynes King. Like, I think they're pretty much the SEC's version of Iowa. They can't score at all. Defense is pretty solid, but now that they lost Smith, even less weapons offensively, and I think Alabama steamrolls them here.
Yeah. You know what? I might as well break it out. I'm with you, man.
It is.
So, I mean, all signs point. Alabama, kind of got tested last week, just from the sense losing Bryce Young that early, and then losing a lead pretty much all the way in the third quarter there against Arkansas, and really having to, adjust, adapt, and ride Gibbs. And they did. And then that end of the third quarter through the fourth quarter, they just dominated physically. And I think it was one of those games that Saban, was excited about. His team learned a lot last week because that's adversity. And this week, I think he's going to be living a little more freer and ready to punch some people in the face. And Jimbo deserves it. Let's just be clear. And I think the A&M boosters, he does. I mean, he thinks he has a program there that is, equitable or equal to Alabama, and he doesn't. The guy
doesn't. No, they're not.
He's
close.
Full. I can't stand him. He's full of shit. And now the boosters want him out of there, but supposedly he's got like $90 million buyout clause. I mean, he ain't going anywhere. Like he might even try and get fired for that free $90 million. That's who he is. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Jimbo guy. Obviously, that's coming off, and I think tonight it's going to show. That loss last year, Bama was stinging from it, but was still able to obviously get the SEC title game. They're going to be ready for this one, and they're going to be ready on many levels, and I think they want to show. I love the first half. That's what we love to do with Bama, but overall, I think you're safe with the 23.5, 24 as well.
Yeah, I like the first half's not a bad look. I played the under. I played at 49, 48 now. So I misspoke earlier. I said 59. That would be an awesome bet, but 49 now. So I think that, we're getting I think we're going to get that type of game where it's like, I don't think Alabama's going to necessarily take their foot off the gas, but I do think the A&M defense is pretty solid. And I'm not sure how much at all the Aggies contribute to this total. Like, not a big Haynes King guy. And the fact that they lose Smith really hurts them. Like, I think it really kills them offensively, especially against, a more athletic defense, right? That, like, they couldn't get explosive plays before. Now they got these guys, Alabama, they can fly all over the field. So I think, listen, 35-7, like, probably pretty, 38-7, somewhere in that range, probably, is what you're going to see here. But it's Alabama. It's more chalk. That's what we're doing. And we're going to hit you guys with some dogs as we go forward for sure. Don't worry. I got a couple in the holster, but a lot of chalk early in these marquee games. So, Dave, let's hit them with another one. You got another best bet lined up?
Yeah, my next one is, I guess I'll stick with the chalk and save my dog for last since we're on that theme right now. And it's a game kind of off the radar, but it's just one I really like in the position they're in. And I'm going with the UTSA Roadrunners -6 today against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is still trying to figure it out. I mean, if you got to watch a little NFL football last weekend, you got to see the good old Brady Zappi out there. Bailey Zappi, I think it is, throwing it around for New England. And they miss him, and they miss him badly. Last year, they were, just automatic in the red zone. This year, they're under 50% scoring. I think last year they only didn't score on 4 or 5 possessions. They've already not scored on about 8 or 9 in the red zone this year. And the TD rate's coming way down. Listen, Western Kentucky's played 2 real D1 teams in Troy and Indiana, lost them both. Their wins are against Austin P, FIU, who's ranked 129th in the SP Plus poll. So I just think stepping up and playing, this is the best team they've played. It's better than Indiana. I think it'll be a tough test. UTSA, on the other hand, played some tough games already this year. Texas played Houston. They're tested, and this is a rematch of last year's Conference USA Championship, which UTSA lost, and they lost badly to a WKU team that threw the ball around the field. They remember that, and I think today's out for revenge, similar to this Bama we're talking about. Take the Roadrunners -6.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're on the right side there. I kind of like the over in that matchup, though. I feel like these
I like
guys
that.
are.
They're both bad.
I think they're both bad, and they're both going to score a ton of points here. And Western Kentucky, they do get explosive plays. They're obviously not the same as last year, but it's going to be a fun game to watch, though, dude. If you're going to watch a game, that's a game to watch. It's going to be a ton.
It's in
fun,
the dome, the Alamo Dome.
Yeah,
so
in the dome,
yeah.
Right? Fast track, man. They're going to be rolling. Let's move on. Let's talk about the I want to get some dogs in here. So let's talk about Utah and UCLA. That's the game I've circled, and I think this is a fascinating one because UCLA surprised a lot of people, surprised me in the dog roll at home against Washington. Really took care of business and really beat that Washington team down a lot more than what the score reflected. And I think personally they're better than what we've seen before. I know a lot of times we look at UCLA and we're like, hey, they start strong, then they kind of fall off. I like them here against Utah. I don't think this number makes any sense. Utah closed -2.5 at Florida. Now they're -3.5. 4 points are on the board at UCLA. I know people expect the UCLA letdown. They've done it so much in the past, but I think UCLA is the side here. I think taking the points. Utah's defense is 108th in the country in EPA per rush. I think that, we saw against Florida that you can run against them. I think UCLA is going to be able to run against them. And I think that we're seeing a different DTR this year. What are your thoughts on this game? Pac-12 after dark, going to be a lot of fun.
Well, that'll be the key, right? Is it a different DTR? I know Utah has faced UCLA and dominated them in recent years, and I think they forced 15 or 16 turnovers in games DTR has started. So it's it's his biggest test. Obviously, it's one that will go a long way in deciding the Pac-12. I'm a big Utah guy. I had them last week against Oregon State. I think they're out here with a little bit of revenge. Is a hard word to play, but they're definitely motivated, and they're motivated to win with margin. So if they are going to win this game, I do think they win and they cover this spread pretty easily. But the key that you're talking about, it is a different UCLA team. And I do feel like, Bobo's been they're finally getting him involved in an offensive game plan, had a big game against Washington. Charbonnet is just as solid as it gets. If UCLA hangs around long enough in this game, they win outright. I do feel that. So I don't really have a strong play on this either way. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. But I can definitely see the side you're going with, and I can see that type of game script landing.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet because I want to see how the number settles a little bit later. I haven't jumped on it. I want to see if, hey, can I get a 4 with UCLA? Right now I'm seeing it's back at 3. There's been a little bit of fluctuation, but if I can, I think UCLA's live. I think they win this game. I really think that, the difference, I think people look at the history and they're like, well, Utah owns, right? They beat them up. They beat them up front. And, that's kind of what we see. And I don't know if that's the case this year. I don't think this Utah team's the same, and I don't know if they win the line of scrimmage in this matchup. That defense is not good, man. And I think that this is kind of poised for UCLA to take another step in the Pac-12, which is turning into another fun division. Like, listen, USC, obviously, the Trojans, the cream of the crop there, but a lot of holes, man. Everyone can't wait to watch them fall. So, they're far from a lock to win the Pac-12 right now. And there's lots of tough teams. Like, even Oregon, there's a lot of tough
they're
teams
still
in the
alive.
Pac-12. Washington, UCLA, a lot of things can happen. And now that we're in the conference play and these teams start cannibalizing themselves, like it's going to be interesting to see who survives at the end.
Yeah, I agree. So this game is going to be fun, though. It might be my favorite game on the whole board to watch.
Yeah. So what do you think? So Daryl checking in wants a quick one. We don't have to spend too much time on it, Dave. Your opinion on Wazoo? You like Wazoo today against USC getting those points?
So be careful with USC, right? I mean, they're really starting to, fit the script of last year's Iowa team. Really nice, 5-0, great start, but these turnovers can't sustain this. Their defense is so terrible, letting up, I think they're like 120th in yards per play. It's going to catch up. Washington State has a really good defense. You even saw, I think Arizona State covered USC last week.
Well, they're good. Washington State's good against the run, and they can get pressure. So I think this is a Caleb Williams game because, we saw even Bo Nix in that game threw for they threw for 1 million yards against Washington State. But, it's can Caleb Williams make the plays? And that's really what we're going to see.
Yeah, I agree. But I like Washington State a little bit. I think you're getting a little bit inflated value in USC in the market.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. So that would probably be the side little dog action. He has a couple other ones. Let's hit these for him before we wrap this thing up. Opinions on some of these dogs: Liberty, Tulane over, Troy over, App State. James Madison, I don't like. So I did play a little Arky State, man. The Red Wolves are one of my favorite teams out there. So I took some 360 with Arkansas State. Listen, home dog. And they can score with anybody. So I think they're going to be live in this matchup. I'm not sure James Madison is the same, is as good as the market reflects them right now. But, everyone talks about, JMU, undefeated against the spread. But also, Arkansas State has been, I believe, undefeated against the spread too. So very good from that perspective. But looks like we're losing Dave here, so let's kind of check back. Let me drop him out of here, and we'll see if he can make it back for our final segment here. But just wanted to touch on a couple of the other games as Dave's getting set up. He's going to join us in a few minutes. If you guys have anything else you want to hit, Darryl, I want to look at the games that you sent over. Don't really have much plays on these other ones. James Madison was really the only one that really I had to play on as far as that. But ton of marquee games. Another game that I like is a Big Ten game. Michigan, Indiana over. I think that's a game that, we're going to see a Michigan team who's primarily been an under team this year has a chance to really get McCarthy comfortable against an Indiana secondary that is 114th against the pass this year. And another thing about Indiana, plays at a very fast pace. If you look at plays per minute, they're 1 or 2 every week. Every single week this season, they've been 1 or 2. So they get to the line of scrimmage, they get off quickly. And I think that, that's going to help kind of, move this game along. So I like that over there. I think I got it at 59. But I think we're going to see points in that matchup as Michigan really has to get McCarthy in that passing game right as the season goes on. And this is a perfect game for them. So I think they keep their foot on the gas, even though we're on the road where they tend to be a little more conservative. I think they get the job done. So let's bring Richard checking in. Rich, we just talked about this game. I like UCLA. I'm on them with the points. I think that they really take advantage of Utah's run defense. But, watch the replay, go back a little bit. We literally just wrapped it up, so you'll be able to tell by this timestamp. But definitely on UCLA in here. I like them getting the points. I think they're a live dog. I think they win. Line doesn't make sense, right? -2.5 at Florida, now -3.5. We're seeing, I saw some 4s earlier this morning at UCLA. If Florida can move the ball against Utah, UCLA is going to be able to stay close in this one. Looks like we have Dave. I'm going to bring him back. Dave, how we living, man? We live, brother?
Yeah, no, my computer I didn't charge last night. Just operator error. So back in live, man. I'm ready to give out my third pick of the day, probably my favorite one. Drums, you ready for it?
Let's do it.
Let's go with the Texas Tech Red Raiders today, plus the 9 at Oklahoma State. I just think this is a story of you have a team playing their fifth straight game against a ranked opponent. They played NC State, Texas, Kansas State, Houston, and they fared decent, winning the game in overtime against Houston, beating Texas as well. NC State kind of beat them a little margin, but it's just they're tested, right? Oklahoma State, on the other hand, good game against Baylor last week, but now they hit their stretch. Now they got about 4 straight major games in the Big 12, and they probably see this one as a little bit of the lesser of all of them. So I think we're at a look ahead and a soft spot, and I think Texas Tech is really live here. I mean, they're solid defensively. Listen, they're 19th in defensive success rate against the run. They're 22nd defensive success rate against the pass. We all know this year the strength of Oklahoma State is Sanders and their ability to move the ball, on the ground and through the air. I think Texas Tech can play a little resistance there. And then Donovan Smith has been solid, not spectacular, solid. And I think he can keep this game within the margin. So I like it. They both play really fast, right? They're both top 10 in seconds per play. And I think
that's Kitley, man. That's Kitley coming over from Western Kentucky.
Exactly. And I think that just helps. I just think that helps keep this game close. I don't think Texas Tech will ever be out of it. They showed that against Texas as well when they were down big and were able to come back. So give me the Red Raiders today. Plus the 9. You got 9.5 in some spots if you're lucky.
Absolutely. I love it. Grab them points with the doggy. Make it happen, man. Texas Tech going to be a lot of fun. If they get a quarterback with Keatley there, they have to get a quarterback next year and take advantage of the window of having him here. Richard, appreciate you checking in, man. Sharp at Badass. Keep it up, you guys. Made some good money this past week. Definitely, guys, download the app. Get in the Discord. That's the main thing. Our AI prediction model. They'll give you who they like in the game. We got our professional handicappers in there giving out their plays. And our guy Ryan, who we had on earlier in the season, he's always giving out his plays as well from his model. Always has a ton of plays. So join us, man. Enjoy the sweats. A lot of fun. Richard, definitely appreciate you checking in, doing our thing. And guys, before you get out of here, if you haven't, hit the like button. That's the best way to support us. Hit that like button. Let's get this thing popping in the algorithm. But Dave, that's going to do it for us. For the people, I want to wrap up your picks real quick. So Texas Tech, you got Illinois over Iowa, which I'm with you as well. Definitely love that one. And what was the third one?
UTSA, Roadrunners, baby.
UTSA, meet the Roadrunners. Let's rock and roll. Awesome.
And I'll tell you what, keep an eye. I've been hitting them all year. I'm going to go against Kentucky, I think, tonight. So just keep an eye. I want to see that one get over the 7. It's at 6.5 now, but let's see where that.
I got 10.5. So I'm going to say I got the early number at 10.5
too. Yeah. So
and I played some money line. I think it was 225 at that time. But that number's too big. Kentucky, you can't lay that with Kentucky. Even before the Levis stuff came out, you give me a 100% Levis, and you can't lay double digits with Kentucky. Not in an SEC game. I mean, I don't like Rattler, but you can't do it.
No. But they're at least they're competitive, and Kentucky doesn't really roll over anyone.
Nope. I would take the 7 if you can get it to 7. Get it. I would have probably even played a 6.5 now. So, definitely agree with you 100% on that one. But guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Mark Drumheller. You find me at the Sharp app. Dave Gleckner. Listen, follow his stuff over at Win Daily Sports too. He's doing a tremendous job there, cranking out winners for everybody. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the like button, download the Sharp app, get the best numbers, hop into Discord, and let's make some money this Saturday. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next week.